The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as the Vorthak Prime stalked across the crystalline floor, its 6 limbs clicking against the surface with predatory precision. Standing 9 feet tall with razor-sharp mandibles that could slice through reinforced titanium, it was the apex predator of the Andromeda sector, a creature that had never known fear, never experienced defeat. Today it faced a human. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood barely 5.5 feet tall, her slight frame dwarfed by the towering alien delegates surrounding her. The assembled representatives from 47 different species watched with a mixture of fascination and horror as the Vorthak Prime approached. Most had never seen a human before. Earth had only recently achieved faster-than-light travel and been granted provisional membership in the Galactic Council. The Vorthak delegation had objected to humanity's inclusion from the beginning. They viewed humans as weak, primitive mammals, easy prey that had no business among the galaxy's apex civilizations. The Prime had demanded this ritual combat to settle the matter once and for all. "The challenge is simple," the Prime hissed, its voice a symphony of clicks and scrapes that the universal translators rendered into cold, mechanical words. "Physical combat, no weapons, no technology. When I tear your fragile limbs from your body, your species will withdraw their application and return to their insignificant little world." The other delegates shifted uncomfortably. The ethereal collective's representative, a being of pure energy contained within a shimmering field, pulsed nervously. The crystalline Zephyrians chimed in harmonious distress. Even the mighty Korath warriors born and bred looked away from the inevitable slaughter. But Ambassador Chen did something no one expected. She laughed. Not a nervous giggle or a desperate attempt at bravado. A genuine, delighted laugh that echoed through the chamber like music. The sound was so unexpected, so utterly inappropriate given the circumstances, that several delegates recoiled in shock. "I'm sorry," she said, wiping tears from her eyes. "It's just, you remind me of my daughter's pet cat when it tries to intimidate the neighbor's dog." The Prime's mandibles clacked together in fury. "You mock me, soft flesh? I have killed creatures twice your size with my bare claws." "Oh, I'm sure you have," Chen replied, still grinning. "But here's the thing you don't understand about humans. We're not impressed by size or claws or how scary you look. We're the species that domesticated wolves, hunted mammoths to extinction with pointed sticks, and turned our deadliest predators into house pets. We're persistence predators, honey. We don't win by being the biggest or the strongest." She began to circle slowly, her movements fluid and confident. "We win by being too stupid to quit and too stubborn to die." The Prime lunged forward with lightning speed, claws extended. Any normal prey would have been shredded instantly. But Chen wasn't there when the claws arrived. She had rolled sideways, coming up behind the creature's left flank. "See, that's your first mistake," she said conversationally, as if they were discussing the weather instead of engaged in mortal combat. "You telegraph your attacks. Big dramatic movements, lots of flourish. Very intimidating, terrible technique." The Prime spun around, swiping again. Once more, Chen wasn't where the claws expected her to be. She had dropped low, sweeping the creature's legs. The mighty predator stumbled but didn't fall. "Mistake number 2, Chen continued, dancing away from another wild swing. "You assume bigger means better. You've never had to fight something smaller and faster than you, have you? Everything on your world either runs away or gets eaten. No middle ground for creative problem-solving." The assembled delegates watched in stunned silence as the human continued to evade the Vorthak Prime's increasingly frantic attacks. She wasn't just surviving. She was analyzing, adapting, learning her opponent's patterns in real time. "But here's the really funny part," Chen said, vaulting over the Prime's back as it charged. "And the reason I started laughing in the first place. You challenged a human to combat thinking we're weak prey animals. But you know what humans actually are?" The Prime roared in frustration, its careful predatory composure completely shattered. "We're the boogeyman that other predators have nightmares about. We're the monster that turned the monsters into pets. We took the food chain and made ourselves the top of it, not through strength or speed or natural weapons, but through sheer bloody-minded determination and an absolutely terrifying inability to know when we're beaten." Chen suddenly stopped dancing around and stood still, arms at her sides. The Prime, seeing what appeared to be surrender, charged forward for a killing blow. At the last possible second, Chen stepped aside and grabbed one of the creature's extended limbs, using its own momentum to send it crashing headfirst into the chamber's reinforced wall. The impact reverberated through the crystalline structure. The Vorthak Prime lay stunned, its predatory confidence shattered along with its dignity. "Here's what you don't understand about humans," Chen said, kneeling beside the defeated creature. "We don't win because we're the strongest or the fastest or the most naturally gifted. We win because we adapt, we learn, we persist, and we never, ever give up. We're the species that looked at fire and said, 'I bet I can make that work for me instead of against me.'" She stood up and addressed the chamber. "We're not asking to join your council because we're the biggest or the scariest. We're asking because we bring something different to the table. The perspective of a species that turned cooperation and adaptability into our greatest weapons." The silence that followed was broken by an unexpected sound, the slow, rhythmic clapping of the ethereal collective's representative. One by one, the other delegates joined in, creating a symphony of approval in 47 different forms. The Korath delegate stood and spoke, his voice filled with newfound respect. "The human speaks truth. Strength is not always measured in claws and fangs. The Council recognizes Earth's application for full membership." As the delegates dispersed, many approached Ambassador Chen with curiosity rather than fear. The Vorthak Prime, helped to its feet by medical attendants, looked at her with what might have been the beginning of respect. "How?" it asked simply. Chen smiled. "Practice. On Earth, everything's been trying to kill us for millions of years. Trees, weather, other humans, the very ground beneath our feet. We got good at not dying because the alternative was extinction." She extended her hand in the human gesture of goodwill. "Welcome to the galaxy, humanity. We're going to fit right in." The Prime looked at the offered hand for a long moment, then carefully extended one claw to touch her palm. In that moment, the rest of the galaxy finally understood humans. They weren't the prey species everyone had assumed. They were something far more dangerous, survivors who had learned to laugh in the face of certain death and somehow turn it into victory. And they had just joined the Galactic Council,